Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first episode. Well, if it's going to finish here, video that someone made for me, Mr. Ryan Hacker of the podcast Pub Time. Let's see. Hi, Stephanie. Hello. Okay, just going to see if this video will fully play here. What's up, Gene? What's up? Yeah, still kind of waiting on my folks that were going to be in on this, but it's okay. I'll just leave this logo up for a little bit until maybe we have some people show up. Can't wait. Okay, appreciate that. So I'm finally getting some comments through there. Those might be old. Oh, I see. 701. Good. If anybody wants to come up, they are welcome to. I can send out the link. Today is going to be a little bit of a mixed episode. You might have seen the title already, but it's also going to be a big episode to get this show off the ground and talk about what's really what the whole point is. It's not just, PTSD is not the point of the show. So I'm hoping that some of the other people in my boxes would show up soon. They'll be here shortly, I'm sure. Thanks, Gene. I sent it out several minutes ago. Not everybody's on time for things. Let's see. Nope, one person looked at it, at least. Oh, maybe two people. Two people have looked at it. Very good. It's okay. It's going to be exciting. It's it's going to be a few hours of sort of deliberating and talking about each one of our personal lived experiences and sort of coming back and forth. Oh, here we go. Contestant number 1 on the show. Hello, we got Miss Jules LeMasters from Smoke Buddies, Illinois. It's a iOS app. I was actually meaning to tell you should put on iOS.
Yes, I will
next time. Because it's also a Facebook group, but that's it's the point is for the app. So cool. I'm happy you showed up. There's a few others. There are 2 others that are supposed to come on some point. Hi, Kat. Hello.
I was running.
Let me play you this. It's okay. You're the first latest one here.
Because well, I might have to run away for a second, but I can be on for now. But my snake decided to lay eggs today, and I didn't even know that she could breed anymore. So I'm shopping and talking right now.
Okay, that seems kind of urgent for sure.
Like, why? I didn't want this.
Trent found it. Good job, Trent. Yeah, I'm not sharing it out. I mean, I guess I should share it to at least one group, but I can do that at some point. But yeah, so Jules, no big deal. If you want to take care of that, you can come back. I'll still be hanging out, or maybe I'll just take care of the couple minutes of information I had, and then we'll just be done.
I don't know.
No, I'm sure Trista and Ima will probably be showing up here shortly.
I got made fun of by Ima for only smoking for 4 minutes, but that's the only time I had for the video. I'm like, I only got 4 minutes.
That's okay. That's all right. There's nothing wrong with that. Hello, Elisa. Hello. So check this out, Jules. Look at this real quick one more time. I'll play it again for you. If it'll play. Can I play it here? Play. That's weird. Huh. It's okay. Let's see. Here we go. Watch. Here you go. Check it out.
Oh, I like that.
This doesn't want to play that well for For some
Probably
reason, the
because I'm not on
StreamYard.
Wi-Fi right now.
No,
Probably
it's
on
not
my.
you. It's definitely maybe I'm overloading my computer. No, that can't be right.
Could be me. I don't know, but I think that's cool.
It's okay.
I think it's
Hello,
cool that
Trent.
little. Why don't they have Snake Betty? Usually have it right there. I told you I'm gonna have to go peeking.
Okay. Well, go ahead and go ahead and take care of that, Jules. I'll go ahead with my thing. I do have a couple of videos to play. Nothing too big, but something that I thought we would all get a kick out of. But I'm gonna try to wait until somebody else comes in at least.
But like I said, I'll be home in probably like 10 minutes.
Okay. No, that's more than fine.
All right, I will be
Take your
right
time.
back.
Thanks.
I'm gonna save these snake eggs. I don't know what I'm doing, but we're gonna do it.
It's okay. This is a show that's meant to be about the people. It's not about me. It's not about my specific take. It's about all our takes. It's a combination of things. Oh, got some swag there, huh?
All right, I'll be back.
Okay, we'll see
All
you.
right, bye.
It's no rush. Everybody that's hanging out, I appreciate it, but I will. I didn't mute myself, did I? Can everybody still hear me? No, that should be good. Thanks, Kat. Does it play very well for you guys? Did it play smoothly on your end? Because it did not play smoothly on my side. Testing. Can you guys hear me? Oh, it did not. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Alexandria. So, okay. Yeah, I didn't have a ton. I mean, I have a nice little slideshow here that's it's gonna be funny. You guys will like it, I'm sure. Trent, it wasn't like earlier. Okay, well, we'll work on that, figure it out. I mean, it's maybe it just needs to be reformatted. I can do that. No big deal. So I actually have the upgraded version now, StreamYard, so we can actually add quite a few people in here. Hopefully we will have that need. Okay, so no responses from the people in the boxes. Jules came. I appreciate that, Jules. You got the snake problem. That's big. But anyway, the reason that they're important is because everybody's lived experience is what's really making this possible, or makes this worth listening to. It's not going to be dry and boring about like statistics. We might bring up some statistics, I mean, here and there, but it's mostly going to be about like real like feelings and thoughts, and maybe give you perspective on specifically on this episode PTSD, and those maybe within the first responders, and anything within public service as far as any kind of danger goes. Military definitely falls in there, and that's clearly where I came from. But there's a lot of people within that category. Let's see here if we can get some people in our boxes. Wait, it's not funny. So yeah, I mean, this is an adult show, so we're gonna have there's gonna be some emotions flying. It's gonna get crazy, but I'm gonna keep things moving forward and at least somewhat coherent at times. So we'll see what happens. But this is just the first episode. This episode is going to be the first in a series for PTSD. It's not going to be every episode. It's going to be every few episodes. We'll do another one from a different angle, whether that be children, or spousal issues, family issues. I mean, any, car accidents. I mean, anything along the lines of PTSD and where that can come from. So we'll try to generalize each episode into a specific category and see how that goes. The ones in between that, we'll try to lighten it up and make it somewhat more interesting. Trent, I'll be counting on you. Hopefully you'll go find us some old pictures or something and set up something for your what we talked about. I think that would be a fun episode just for you know, a little bit of a relief anyway. But you know, I have a lot of categories and episodes that I've already thought about doing, so we'll see how it goes. But hello, Kasia. Yeah, so if I can't get people in the boxes, then I guess the whole idea is going to be moot, huh? That's okay. Everybody, I mean, look, I mean, a lot of you guys have know me from live streaming on Facebook for certain groups, and I think almost everybody has a connection with somebody who is a veteran, or you know, in their family or friends or themselves. Um, let's see. So, I mean, you know, feel free to pop up. Maybe I should go ahead and pin it to the chat. Let's see. I wasn't trying to, you know, get a flood of people coming up and down, but this should help things move along. I'm not going to just let every single person in, but and especially, listen, guys, this is not the same thing as my normal lives where people jump in and out and hang out and talk and say their piece. This is going to be more. You know, I don't want you just to come in for no reason. I want you to come in with something to say about the topic at least. Let me see if I can pin this here. Paste. And pin. It's my very first viewing with you, but may I add you? What do you mean, add me? Friend request, maybe not, but just go ahead and, you know, you can follow me for now. You're welcome to send me a friend request. I'll look at it when I get time. Come on, people on the boxes. You all, you all own the clock. Yeah, everybody. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not gonna disparagingly. Everyone seemed like they were ready, but see how it goes. We'll just we can just do this. Here we go. Yeah, like that. So about my experience, and that's why I'm starting it this way. It's not because it's Memorial Day weekend, although it happens to make sense. I actually thought of doing this because the first episode would be easiest to make it about my journey or my, you know, cause, I guess, or something that's near to myself. So in that case, I can come up with material easily, and also um, it's easiest to talk about myself first, and then maybe other people will make their own episodes about whatever it is, you know, different causes they champion, whatever it is. So let's see, you know, waiting for some responses here. Oh, I think I got a response. Oh wow, that's everybody's having emergencies at the last second. She will probably talk about it in a minute. Okay, there we go. One person. As this goes on, we'll, you know, I plan to revisit topics, and we will probably get more and more people in the boxes. You know, everybody's got their own angle, and it's going to be up to that diversity to give us a little bit of insight on some of this stuff. I could ramble on and on about my situation, but that's not going to. Oh, hello, and we have a new person in the box. Trista, or Trisket Biscuit is what she's going by here. Okay. You know, it's whatever you like to do.
The general nickname.
Okay. Well, you know, whichever in the future, you could put whatever you want to rep there if you want one of your accounts, because Trista here does a lot of things on TikTok and Facebook and probably a bunch of other sites. And do you want to introduce yourself to the people? Yeah, mostly our friends in here, but we're going to upload this to YouTube and other such sites in the future.
Well, my name's Trista. I'm 32. I'm in Niagara Falls, Canada. I do special effects makeup. I don't know what else to say.
That's okay. I'm realizing I didn't really introduce myself all that much either. Might as well. My name is Waylon. It's Waylon the Indoor Farmer, because that's my YouTube channel for my individual show that I do on Sundays. But my name is Waylon Maccabee. I am a veteran. It happens to be Memorial Day week. I did not, it's funny, I didn't think about that until after I came up with the topic. I swear, I promise. But I am 38 years old. I live in Illinois. I'm an Illinois Boys member. A lot of these folks in the chat know me. I appreciate all the support tonight, you guys. They are all from various groups on Facebook that I live stream from. So feel free to follow me on there, Waylon Maccabee. I have a firsthand experience tonight, and that's why the episode is about what it is. But Trista also has some experience with the military, so we will go over that at some point here. But let me see. I have this video, Trista. It's really, you're gonna laugh your butt off, honestly. But I would love to get maybe some of our other boxes in here filled. I saw my message, did not respond. Jules will be back in a few minutes, so we can wait for that. But let me just go over what this show is about. I mean, we're going to go over hard topics. We're going to talk about things that maybe are uncomfortable, but these are things that are important to like culture and current, I don't know, the current atmosphere, I guess, in the country and in the world as a whole, because this show's not limited to America. We're going to be getting people from anywhere and everywhere that have something to say on the subject, and it should be fun. That's what I want to see. I want to see that convergence of people's thoughts all over the world on topics that may or may not be easy to talk about. I'm hoping not to devolve into like politics every time or something stupid like that, but I'll try to keep it. I'll try to keep it straight. I'll try to keep us coherent, at least when we all start to get excited. That should happen. Hopefully, that's the idea. The screen full.
Well, once it's that initial getting the ball rolling of everything, and everybody's like, "Oh, I'm not really sure what's going on."
Right. Yeah, and they'll see how it goes. Go ahead.
I just remembered I wanted to share out to a bunch of groups, and Braden was thinking about coming in and popping in.
I wasn't sure if you meant today or not. He's welcome if you want to get a hold of him. That's fine. It's funny. I almost want to see if Alexandria wants to come up, because she has a firsthand experience of me. So I have a firsthand experience of PTSD, and then she has a firsthand experience of me. That's funny. But that's no big deal. Oh, just so people know also, and I need to post about this, but if you join this, you don't have to put your name down. It's free, and also you don't even have to be seen. You can shut your camera off, and you can get on and just talk about whatever it is. If somebody would like to do that at some point, that's more than welcome. I mean, I get that it's easier to talk than to type in the chat, and you may not want to be seen. So there is that. So go ahead.
I was gonna say something.
That's okay.
Yeah. I don't have other than through my dad, I don't really have all too much.
No, that's fine. That's what I want.
Stuff in terms of like the army and stuff like that. But myself, I was diagnosed with PTSD and Stockholm syndrome, which is not really well known from what I understand.
Right. It's something I've heard of, but I probably couldn't put my finger
You
on
know
the.
how, like, you remember Charles Manson and stuff like that?
Yeah.
So all of the females that were like madly in love with him and all of his daughters and wives, they all suffered from Stockholm syndrome.
Where you fall in love with someone even though they mistreat you.
It's basically, and then it becomes like, it's more than just, oh, he loves me. That's the end of my life. This is where my life is going to be. Like, you're sure this is that person, and every bit of their anger is because of something you've done, and you can manipulate things in your head to, like, if a physical altercation happened, you can manipulate things in your head to a point where you don't remember that altercation, and you could be hooked up to a lie detector test and you would pass the lie detector saying, no, nothing ever happened, because you truly, genuinely believe that this person's safe.
Right. I actually, knowing a little bit about your history, I actually thought about doing an entire episode on, I don't know if spousal abuse would be the title, but just something along those lines. I mean, because that's definitely PTSD. There's so many times, so many stories I've heard, even with my own mother, where a man can attack a woman and still get away with it in a lot of ways and sneak around and do things. And let's be real. Women can do certain things back. There's lots of ways that people can hurt each other. So, but that's
nobody's immune to domestic violence.
Exactly. And that domestic violence, that's good. Yeah. So, and that's why I thought that could be a whole episode, and I like that you have experience in both, which gives you perspective for sure. But your perspective on growing up, and your dad's still alive?
Yeah.
So, I mean, with tact, of course, you could tell me if maybe there's anything that you said, but you don't have to do it at this moment. I was trying to go through my whole thing before I made anyone else go through theirs. But let me just say a couple more things. I spent 10 years in the Army. I was separated from the reserves from cannabis use. And that's a big thing I wanted to talk about today because, and speaking of which, I kind of want to share this out to my old Army unit. It's kind of makes me nervous to do that. Let's see here. I mean, I'm part of the group, but I kind of maybe assume that like rejection, maybe.
Well, it's always that initial, like, are they going to accept it or not? But at the same time, you're doing amazing things. So, and it's only going to get bigger and better.
I appreciate that. Let's see. I got to put a title down for them. That's okay. I'll just put it that way. There we go. Cool. All right. Yeah, we'll see what happens, but that's okay. They don't really need to join. I've already had some not respond from me on other things. So there we go. Playing too many here. Okay. I could hear myself for a minute. Hey, so did you see? Oh, you already saw that, but the intro that I had put up, it doesn't want to play very clearly, so I'm gonna have to fix that. But back to me, 10 years in the Army, I would have stayed in. Guys. If they could just leave me alone and have my Mary Jane, I'd be fine with that, and I would have been just fine. But I get it. I get the performance difference, but everybody performs differently on different things. Caffeine, and a huge thing, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but a huge thing in the military is alcohol. It's almost a prerequisite, and I'm sure you might have stories of this, but there's, even as the further back you go, as far as generations and age and in the military, it gets worse. But in my unit, it was perfectly acceptable. If you were a full-blown alcoholic. I mean, maybe I'm exaggerating, but you would definitely could come in hungover any day and not have an issue. So there was a whole double standard about it. I want to try to not sound so bitter about it because that was my direct situation. But I think a lot of people, they actually, some places they medicate veterans with marijuana. I mean, I have a medical card because of that, but it's not from the VA or anything like that.
Yeah.
VA being the Veterans Administration. I should remember that if this goes worldwide at all, and I know we have some newfies and some Canadians here, so I have to be more specific on some of the terminology. But the Veterans Administration, you know, they've been, we'll say, not a great track record lately. So it spent, you know, after the war, you know, yeah, a little bit of cannabis in between the drill weekends was what all I needed. I didn't need alcohol, but anyway, I get separated and I still have my benefits. I'm still a veteran. I spent a whole year in an active duty scenario in a war zone, so they can't mess with that. It's nothing that they would want to, I guess, but just going 2 days a week, or I'm sorry, 2 days a month, is really tough. You know, when all you want is like a puff here and there. Of course, maybe I do more now because I can, but so anyway, that's my little bitter story. I mean, oh, hey, hello, we have another people in a box.
I don't know if you have the comments up there.
Go ahead. I'm not trying to. Go ahead.
Jay said, "This is the fight dealing with the change, with change and stoner stigma." Alicia said, "If they don't understand, that's not your fault. Each to their own." And then Kat put a long one in about domestic violence, partner violence.
I know. I was going to get to that when I can, Kat.
Go for it.
Here we go. This is easier. Putting it up actually makes things a lot easier.
Yeah.
So we have another person in our box here. I was just explaining, you know, a little bit of my background. We've had Trista introduce herself. Why don't you introduce yourself? Whatever you like to say. You don't even need to say anything if you don't want to. You can say, "I'm the guy that's the guy." Could be done with that. You know?
I'm the guy that's the guy.
Hey, okay. I'll come up with something better to make you say next time. Okay.
Damn, I thought that was.
I wish I didn't jump in the middle.
No, it's not that big of a deal because I see this show as it's going to be a 2-hour, 3-hour podcast. People can come and go as long as I have a few people in my boxes, guys. Like if I'm if I'm all solo on this, it may end up, you know, being the person in the box, in the boat. All right. But no, I appreciate you guys stopping by. 3 volunteers is better than none. And I think this is going to help other people to maybe open up and jump in, because this isn't, you know, it's not NBC or, you know, Fox News. Like this is going to be chill and relax. And that's the point. Like we don't want to be stiff about these subjects. We want to be, there's got to be some humor involved, right? Jules should be back here shortly, I hope, because the humor is coming, you guys.
Wow, I'm not even funny.
It's a little bit self-deprecating, I guess, but you guys will laugh. And I'm you know, and it's funny. You might be able to tell I'm figuring out my voice on this show too. It feels different to me as well, going from just the live streams to this, because I'm not trying to just throw out the goofy stuff yet, but it'll come. We're gonna have some fun episodes. We're gonna have some weird episodes. There's gonna be interesting topics. It's not gonna be random topics. It's usually gonna be something that's near and dear to somebody's heart. So like somebody who's gonna be on the episode is gonna have a topic that they want to discuss, and then we'll work it around that. So that's the idea. But let's see. We'll read a couple comments till Jules gets here. Be you. You are them. They should be your family. Yes, Elise, I appreciate that. We got Hippie Girl Jess with a big one here. My heart goes out to you and all too. To you all too. I also have PTSD from an abusive husband, and 4 years later, still can talk about it, or still can't talk about it. Well, you're kind of talking about it now, or not have an attack when talking about it even. Thank you all for sharing. No, I appreciate that, Hippie Girl Jess, because I know everybody has something in their life that causes trauma. This just happens to be the big one for me. Yeah, thanks, Hugh. I don't know if I should.
I think one of the great things that this show is going to do for people is make them feel validated in where they are in life, what they're struggling with. It's, you know, everybody always says, "You're not alone. You're not alone." You can hear that cliche line over 1 million times. That still's not going to have the same effect. seeing other people talk about things from an emotional experience, from a personal standpoint or whatever, and then you realize, okay, like I did feel the same, or I did feel something similar, and I am valid in saying that I do have trauma and I do have PTSD. Because for myself, it took me so many years to understand that what I went through wasn't stupid. It wasn't small. It wasn't something I did. It was something that happened to me. And unfortunately, now I have to deal with the consequences from that. But I didn't make that choice. And there was so long where, somebody would say, oh, you have PTSD, or I'd talk to a doctor and they'd be like, yeah, you have it. And I didn't believe them because I felt like my stuff wasn't valid. My story wasn't bad enough to say that I was struggling with that.
That is exactly how I felt. And I would like to actually, I'm not sure. Did you say you had some veterans in your family, or?
Yeah. That's one of the things.
You don't have to go through it just yet, but I just wondered if you did. I just want to make sure, because I don't want to jump your gun yet, but you can go ahead if you like.
Well, on to what she was saying a little bit, that's one of the things about something like this makes it so great, because a lot of people like that aren't comfortable enough to have that voice and that validation, and just seeing somebody else get up on here and say their story or their experience or their advice can give them that much more to even have their comfort raised, to be able to have their own voice or even help them in some way.
If you can't have a voice for yourself, have a voice for others.
Exactly. My dad was in the Navy, so I'm a military brat. I've been all over when I was a baby. But and my stepdad was a Marine, and they both suffer from PTSD.
So, and it ranges so much. That's why I was hoping we can get a lot of views on it, because someone's PTSD, like for me, is not the same as someone who, there's very clear PTSD from the military, like a missing limb. That's probably, without a doubt, that's going to be one of your symptoms, one of your the thing on your list, PTSD from that. That's a clear, obvious thing. With me, it's not so clear looking at me. So that's why, like you said, Trista, it took me a lot longer to even think, well, I'm not worth the time to even go through that process to try to do this and that, when I actually had, a lot of things on my list, but they only eventually went through with the one. A little bit hard to deny the one that I got. So, Acacia, military brat family. Acacia, you should come up. You could come up. You could just take your camera away. What do you call it? Faceless. Military family here, Heather. Okay.
My dad actually just got recently diagnosed as high-end spectrum on it, like for autism.
Really?
And his PTSD overlapped with that now. Like, just going to Alicia's comment there, he was just going through everyday life, just thinking things were fine and normal. And like as a kid, I did the same. I always wondered why my dad was so angry. But growing up, you realize, like, fuck, that wasn't a normal life. That wasn't a normal feeling. And then once he got diagnosed with autism, a lot more things started to make sense. And like now he can go to therapy for that as well as his PTSD.
At what age did he get diagnosed with autism?
He just got diagnosed probably 3 or 4 years ago, and he is, I want to say 51 now.
Roughly, yeah. It's incredible, because I don't know if I'm the only one that's thought this, but I've had thoughts before, like maybe I'm high spectrum. Sometimes that's a fantasy though, because you're thinking I might have superpowers. I'm a savant. I'm a genius. No, that's not exactly what that means, but that must have been crazy for him to find that out at such a late age. I mean, with PTSD, you think, well, everything's probably the PTSD, you kind of assume, right? But then
he was very much in denial of the PTSD, because for him, he had that mentality where, like, if he had PTSD, that would make him weak. So he was very much in denial over it.
I felt the same way.
It wasn't really till he got to like his 40s that he finally accepted it and started getting help for it.
Yeah, I mean, it took me about no, I don't think so. Sorry. It took me about 10 years to even decide to go through that process to try to claim anything, because I didn't feel like I was worth it. I didn't feel like I had anything wrong with me that was worth it. I thought, well, I can work, I should be fine. But it wasn't a physical, I had physical issues, but nothing that kept me from working. I mean, I've had surgery through the VA. They've botched it. One surgery was 3 surgeries, and they still didn't get it right, and I tried claiming all that stuff. So, because I wanted to hold them accountable. Because the VA in America, or in the US is, you got to hold them to account. Otherwise they've had a bad rep, I guess, or a bad record, I should say.
Yeah.
So it didn't work out that way, but at least, I did get the PTSD diagnosis or disability for that. And I'm thankful, because it at least allows me to move forward with my plans. And we'll get to that, because I didn't have plans. I was depressed. I was suicidal. I didn't commit. I didn't try anything. Let's put it that way. I don't think so. Maybe small things, who knows? But yeah, I mean, I was going through a pretty rough time in my life because of this, and struggling until the case finished. And it was almost like this weight lifted off my shoulder. It wasn't because of the money. The money was a big part of it, because I had been living in this depressed state where I needed the money to catch up, back to where I could feel comfortable again. Not to blow on fun things, but to catch my life back up. So yeah, it takes a while to get back out of that. Once you do, we can talk later about what I think helps that. I don't think being happy or getting things or getting money helps that. I think it's having an idea for the future, having a goal, a long-term goal for the future that's bigger than yourself, and I think go ahead.
I feel like in moments like that, it's not so much the money that feels good. It's some sort of physical validation, something that you can see, touch, move around, and do something with. Like you can go buy something.
It represents, it represents security.
It's not the money itself. It's just the knowledge. Like, I'm gonna be okay. I can pay these bills. That's a little bit of stress off my shoulders, and you don't have to worry about like where your next meal is and stuff like that. So I definitely understand how it's not a materialistic aspect, but it's still valid. It definitely, it's like having your first paycheck. Like, I finally have done something. I've worked, and it's showing. It's showing.
It represents security and stability, right? Ima, can I call you Ima, Mr. Ima Burns? Who do you know who did you say you knew that was a veteran?
My dad and stepdad both are.
So you get it from different angles, because as a person with PTSD, I have to be conscious when I go to even talk about dating somebody, that I have to make sure they know this, they know, the situation, because I'm not the kind of PTSD where I mean, I get angry, but I don't go and like hurt things or hit anyone. I'm more of the opposite, where the PTSD, where I didn't think I had value. There's a difference there between the guys who had to like kill someone with their bare hands, or I guess that's graphic, but my point, like that's a different PTSD than just feeling like you're worthless. And yeah, I did go through plenty of attacks and different things that could cause PTSD, but it was more of the feeling of like, oh, they're done with you.
My dad and stepdad's kind of two different. They're two different stories, but my dad was more of the being abroad and away from homeland and family, and coming back after so many years, and having put in all that time to come back to having practically nothing. You know what I mean? And my stepdad, he went to Desert Storm and was in the bad part of it. And he came back and suffered with alcoholism and PTSD and all types of stuff from that. So it was two very different, you know what I mean? And as far as like growing up in the household from being in a military family, because my grandfather was, uncles, all that, my dad, it wasn't the household, it was the moving around. And my stepdad, I grew up in the household with somebody that was suffering from that and being raised from that angle. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I think with as far as PTSD, as far as the military is concerned, it's something that's consistently talked about here recently, but still not really much being done about it. You know what I mean?
I see in the chat, you see how Heather says 22 a day, hashtag 22 a day. Do you know how many years that's been going on? That number can't be accurate anymore, you know?
And like, and what you were saying as far as their surgeries and things like that, dude, that's one of the things that if we don't start really uniting and making changes, it's law. It's law. The majority of our money goes towards the military, but it doesn't go towards our vets. It goes towards funding that machine to continue to be well oiled and continue doing what it's doing. You know what I mean?
It does, and again, just like our medical system in general, you have the same downfall, which is they want to treat the symptom, not the disease. They don't want to, they're more interested in just putting band-aids on whatever it is you have going on. Okay, Chris, if you can hear me, bud, I want to make sure that you know this is a little bit different than what we normally do. I think Chris is actually a veteran himself, so we're going to let Mr. Bighorn Genetics in on the scene. Hi, Chris. Give Keisha, hang out in the pit there for a minute. We're going to let Chris introduce himself, and then we'll pull you up. Okay? Well, sorry, do you want me to call you Mr. Bighorn, or is Chris okay?
No, it's fine.
I can't hear you that well, though, to be honest. It's kind of cutting out.
Let me speak back in a bit.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go get on the computer. It's easier.
Sure. I'd appreciate that, bud. Thank you for stopping in. We'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, we have another person in the box here. Hello, Asia. Hello. So Chris is going to be back, but I want to, if you are wanting to, you can go ahead and introduce yourself, or you can be like Mr. Ima Burns, a mystery among mysteries.
My name's Keisha. I live in Washington.
State.
My dad, Washington State, yes, Washington State.
In U.S.
My dad was in the Air Force for 20 years.
20 years. Oof.
Yeah. My mom made him. So it's one of those, you know, you're gonna make it.
Wow. Okay. So the wife was pushing him to get through. I mean, that's good though. It's good to have support.
It was tough. I don't think he would have mentally gone through the whole 20 years without her help. But
that is huge. So having that perspective, and maybe Ima, you had the similar where your mom and possibly Trista will ask all of you guys, but having someone at home that supports you when you come home or supports you while you're gone and to get home is huge. I don't want to throw all my peoples under the bus specifically, but I wouldn't say I had the greatest, you know. My mom supported me while I was gone. She would send me things and stuff, and that's great. But when I get home, you know, you're basically expected to, okay, well, you're a man. You can take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. But have you guys ever heard of the term? It's called institutionalized. It's kind of what prisoners go through, and sorry, didn't want to let it go out. And so I felt institutionalized because while you're over there, you don't really have much mail unless you have friends at home. You don't have to deal with your bills. You don't have to mow your lawn. You don't have, there's almost no adulting. It's all, I don't want to say kid stuff. It's very serious, but it's also fun in a way, it's all right, let's go. It's, it's all hyped up type stuff. It's not that boring adult, adulting back home. Go ahead, Ida.
I think it's kind of similar. It's very similar as far as the aspect of all the psychological trauma, the same thing you go through as far as the separation from your family, the lack of intimacy, the lack of human connection. And it's the same. I mean, I'm not trying to get on no gender stuff, but males being separated from the opposite sex or their sexual partner or having that intimacy, that has a psychological impact on you. We're humans. We want that connection to other people. We want that. And so the same thing goes through the military that are away from home that long. And as far as like mail and getting things, people try, but life is hard, and out of sight is out of mind. And we all suffer from that. You know what I mean? So that's put onto a whole nother level when you're that far away.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It definitely is, and that was part of it. But the other part of it though is that if you have and this is part of my let's see if I can find it real quick. I made some bullet points. My computer's not really loving me right now. Too much. Actually, in fact, I can do this. Okay, so anyway, one of the bullet points was, know who your veteran family members are and friends, because half of the battle is that you might think, oh, I knew, yeah, he was in the Army, right? Well, but you don't think about that in a ongoing sense, go see how they are or whatever. And I'm guilty of that. I have nephews and I have people who were in the military and they seem fine. Facebook, it looks like they're doing well, a family and all that, but are they? So it's not on the veteran to tell his family to coddle him, or her. It's not that they want coddled. They want to see that someone cares. And I'm sure that's the same way with a lot of people who have trauma. You don't want to be like smothered. You don't want to be like, but you want to be acknowledged. And I wasn't going to go around asking for that. I'm not asking for that now. I mean, I'm not, I was an average soldier, with, maybe above average looks, but, but no, nothing special here. I drove trucks. I drove, heavy wheeled vehicles. I drove, we drove, we hauled fuel. So it was a little bit crazy. You got 7,500 gallons of bomb behind you while you're driving. So
that was dangerous stuff though.
Yeah. I mean, we drove missions when nobody else would, because the routes were labeled in colors and they was labeled black, which means, not safe to travel on. And, PC not responding. Okay, let's just close something so that I don't have to shut down the live. There we go. Everything's okay. You guys hear me? Okay. Okay. Good. Now, I really did have a cool little picture set up with some bullet points. If I can find it. So yeah, we drove 18-wheelers. I drove Humvees. I drove 5.5 or 5-ton trucks. A lot of different trucks, and that means war is a lot different behind the wheel of a vehicle instead of like in the trenches. You might imagine, this last war. Okay, let me say this. I guess I didn't say it already. I was in Iraq. Was the place that I served, and it's not. Okay, here we go. Okay. It's not that it was easier driving. It was actually very weird because I didn't have a target. If I was shooting, it was just out because somebody was shooting at us. So you shoot and drive, so you're just still driving. As the driver, I'd have my weapon, pointed out the window, and like there's nothing to shoot at. So at times it wasn't that, but very, very weird dynamic, we should say. Oh, we have Jules in the box. Let me pull something up real quick. Share. So we don't ramble. I'm going to let Jules introduce herself real quick, and then I'm going to show us this little slideshow. We can all have a laugh, lighten the mood a little bit. Here we go. This should put up my bullet points. And I guess you can see pictures at the bottom. That's okay. We'll figure this out. Wait, where'd Jules go? Oh, she left. It's okay. And I'm out. So, yeah, these are just some, light bullets that we're going to try to cover today. Friends, knowing who they are is important because it's not just once a year on Veterans Day that matters, And I'm not saying to go and bug them because you see one of my bullet points. Try not to bother them with the small things. That's the thing about when you come home and you're institutionalized. All those little things, they seem like petty nonsense because you've been in war. So that's sort of like desensitizing in my view, because you have this view of like almost the highest, most exciting type of traumatic thing a human can do, which is like on a team of guys ready to kill another team of guys, So when you come back and I was accused of not having emotions a lot of times with girlfriends if they wanted to get into a fight or if they wanted to break up, and I was like, okay, they'd be like, well, you're not gonna, no, because that's not, that's a small thing. I'm not gonna sit there and worry about that. Let's go back to our boxes here. I think I can just click this.
You said on there too, it said on there about inviting them, even if they don't go.
Okay, so this is my little clip. These are just a few pictures. Sorry, I give me a second. Well, it's only a few minutes here. So hold up. Pause it. Sorry, it's a little bit choppy. I want to pause it right where you can see. This is me here. So that's not funny, but we'll keep moving. This is before we knew anything. We were just getting there, didn't have a clue. Oh man. This is us on nights, a lot of night missions, then day missions, flipping back and forth. So your schedule's all jacked up. Look at this guy. Can't wake up. Wake up, guy. Oh my gosh, look at this guy. What has he got going on with his lip? So look at this lip. Jeez. Oh, this was they gave us these ninja costumes, I was just oh my gosh, I didn't know. I don't think I knew about this one. See the wall though, like pictures of Maxim magazine. That's all the soldiers. That's what we did. All the magazines. That headlight, you guys, was the best investment I made going overseas. I tell you what, having a hands-free flashlight. Yeah, my daughter on one wall, all the Maxim girls on the other wall. This is where my hat shrank, in the laundry. It's rough. I'm not sure I covered up enough of his face. Maybe I should have covered up more. So yeah, this is the Marines. We worked with Marines. We hauled fuel to all over Iraq. I saw the whole thing. I saw Kuwait. This is all the gear that they were supposed to be wearing all the time.
Jules is asking if you can see her.
Jules, I saw you earlier, and I do not see you anymore. Oh, so I'll pause it here because this was they would sell like dried goat liver on the side of the roads. Actually, I'm kidding. This is just a big piece of beef jerky. It was in a bag. Kind of looks like Gene Simmons' tongue, though. Anybody? Jules, let me see if I can get rid of something, and that might help be able to pull you up. Let's see. I think this might help. Remove that. Oh, I see Chris. So how come I can't? Oh, there it is. Okay, there we go. All right. Here's Jules while I'm looking like Gene Simmons. Hello, Jules.
Hello.
Jules, do you think that looks like Gene Simmons?
No.
Okay. Well, we're gonna Jules, Chris, give me a moment. Let's let Jules introduce herself real quick.
Oh, hello.
You can whatever you like to say. You don't have to say anything.
But hello, I am the Smoke Buddies Illinois representative. What's up? Got my addicted shirt on. What's up? Because I'm addicted to green.
Kind of looks like Adidas. Is that what the?
It actually is Adidas. But addicted on it. Got it off Amazon. It's a cool shirt. You should go buy it. All I'm saying is cool. I don't know. And I'm like the coolest, hippest, awesomest person to ever.
Well, that's a mouthful. I think I'll have to make you say that each time. So okay, well,
I'm the coolest person ever, and I don't only rep now. I will say my name is Jules, but on the Smoke Buddies app, I go by Martha Queen. So you guys have to go by my weed name, and that is Martha Queen.
Martha Queen, huh? Okay.
And I'm a queen. That's why they called me. It's a drag queen thing. They named me that because literally I have kids and I cook all the time and shit. So they were like, "Girl, you are Martha and a queen." And I was like, "Oh shit, okay, Martha Queen, it is then." But hey.
You're bringing all the cred to the show. I don't want to say street cred because I feel like that could be insulting. I don't know.
It kind of
the cred.
Whatever.
That's okay. So okay, let's bring Chris up here. Mr. Bighorn Genetics himself.
Every time
the comments will be read and he will post up the comments up on the screen. We're not trying to ignore anybody.
I'm trying to get there, buddy. Joey, the clock man. Well, see, by that name, it'd be tough.
I didn't serve in Iraq, but I had 2 brothers and an uncle and my dad, and all had.
Yeah, you do look way different.
I might have gained a few pounds, guys.
You gained a few pounds.
Chris, give us a little. Give us a little background about you.
A little bit of facial hair, a little bit of
Oregon. You're still excited about Mel Younger. I'll send you some pictures later if you like. So, Chris,
I'm just
what is your experience with veterans? Do you have any veterans?
My dad's a veteran.
Firefighters. Okay.
Yeah, my dad's a veteran, U.S. Navy for 28 years, retired Master Chief.
That's big. Dang. Master Chief. Yeah.
Master Chief.
Yeah, I was E4, and then they demoted me to E3, and then they demoted me to E2, and then they demoted me to E1, and then they kicked me out finally after 4 years. Guys, I tried. Listen, 4 years of I failed 4 drug tests in 4 years. You can imagine how much I had to try.
Our country.
The last one I failed was for not even if you guys know what marijuana is, it's a hitter, not even 2 little teeny puffs. That's all it was. But yet, if you go in there after drinking all night long, you're perfectly fine. So I'm not bitter at all. Let's go back to the video, everybody.
Oh wait!
You're still there.
Still there. Can I ask a question before we
can.
That topic? Does
go ahead.
Own snakes on here?
This is not snake talk, Jules.
I understand, but I have like 7 eggs in downstairs. I don't know what to do. And Google
snake eggs. Wow, that is crazy.
Google Assistant, not me.
Get a hold of Jake Strickfaden. He is a reptile guy, and he might be able to help you.
That's all I need to know.
I thought you were going to say Jake the Snake.
Get a hold of Jake the Snake. He'll be able to take him off your hands.
Shit.
Now we can go back on the topic. My bad.
It's okay. It's okay. This is a long form show. This is not a let's rush through it. You know what time? It's 8 o'clock. We've been on an hour, guys. No big deal. This is good stuff. I still have lots of funny here. It's going to be really good. I should have put music behind this one, but I didn't. Look at this hairstyle. I look like Eddie Guerrero in this picture.
Shit.
You look like trouble. I swear to God, you look like you did some stuff.
This was my roommate, and this was his girlfriend that he met over there.
Yeah, he definitely was not.
Oh, yeah, you two look like a happy couple.
Oops. I didn't mean to. Did it come off of everybody's face? No?
No, just that one.
I don't want anyone getting mad at me. I think the one that it came off of, I think he might be.
Dude, you look so weird.
Do I look weird there?
Because you ain't
that
got
guy.
Weird. It's strange.
Still wet behind the ears.
Like, oh my
God. Look how tan I am, though. Ooh.
Come on.
So tan.
Get in here.
Hey, can somebody
Get in here.
get my bougie smoothie? Thank you. I require
Sergeant Kerr right there, you guys. He's no longer with us. Sergeant Kerr.
That's how I
feel, buddy.
Same weight too. I feel like you're the same weight. You just got a beard.
He's no longer with us, you guys. He was a great man. Oh, I already saw that one.
It's okay. You'll be fine. You'll be okay.
Yeah, alcohol is a depressant for sure.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little Haji kid I was talking to that day.
Alcohol.
They're locals in the area that would be nice enough that we could interact with. You know, well, hopefully one day it's a much better place. But
I still haven't seen the 1,000-yard stare.
Look at that guy. He's cute, huh?
All right. It looks like you might.
That's where we slept most of the time on missions. You know.
That was very nice.
I lost that booning cap, or I gave it to somebody. I remember what I did. I like that booning cap. This is what I did when I wasn't on mission. See I got blankets on? It's because we had air conditioners like cranked in the room and the windows out.
Back to that picture. I was looking at the posters on the wall.
No, those are just Max. The girls will Max them. Don't worry. This was the first time I ever had a rare steak. Not rare. It was a medium rare. So good. And
Get in here. Are those goat steaks?
Nope. Those were steaks that came from. Oh, this is me. Had a little growth going on. Dude, don't worry, it cleared up, you guys.
Don't ever shave.
Goat steak is pretty good.
I was 21 years old there.
Don't ever shave. Like, don't ever. You look weird without a beard. Don't ever not have one.
21.
What?
Okay, you guys. I got to warn you. This next part. This next part does have to do with, buddy rescues and different special ways to help your buddies. Okay, it's nothing unusual. It's these are 4 friends of mine. These were some look how tall they all were.
I was gonna say
we were just helping each other, just kind of we were like in case of emergencies. We were figuring out how, like, if I could lift up the big guy,
Stop, drop, and roll. All right.
Those are the greatest pictures I've seen. Those last 2 were the greatest ones of the whole bunch.
So this is from Kathy Schmidt. Shout out to Kathy. Thank you very much for sending me these. She sent this is across from her house. I can't remember where she lives, but that's not the point. But there's some cool pictures here from this memorial. I guess that's the same picture there, huh? Hey. I like those statues are really cool. I've never, that's the thing about, I don't know about other veterans, but I don't feel the need or the urge to go visit memorials.
Yeah.
That. Dad was like that. He didn't want to go visit memorials at all. I think it reminded him too much of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way my old man is. He doesn't want to go and visit them either. It reminds him too much of friends he's lost, too much of what he's been through. It's more of a depression when you go and do the visitations and stuff like that. It just brings you down.
It really does.
Well, it's low key. It's a reminder of cowardice and deeds not done, and I could have done more. The whole
my dad. My grandfather. He was in which war was it? Because he got a Purple Heart. I want to say World War II because I didn't get to meet the guy.
Yeah, it could have been.
He had a Purple Heart. And my mom would always have like it on the wall and stuff like that. But he was in the Air Force. That's all I know.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, though, is when you come back, you feel like you didn't do enough, or you could have done more, and then you don't want to go revisit that. For me, I had this is really weird because I'm not particularly religious. As a kid, I've been to several different churches. I've been to Baptist. I've been to Catholic. I've been to Protestant. I've been to several different ones. I think it's interesting to get perspective. But when I was overseas for several months, every time I personally went on a mission, nothing would happen. Like very minimum, nothing. And in my head, I was like, well, I'd like to see this and that, and I want to do this, and I want to make these, sacrifices, and I want to, fight and all that. And so it actually wore on me in a way where it's like, well, what the fuck, am I going to see anything,
Yeah.
But really a lot of guys would kill to have had the ability to, oh, well, there's like literally people were saying there's a guardian angel on your shoulder. And it actually comes to fruition today because I now have a purpose and a calling and things that I think have to do with some of that, reasons why I'm here. But
cool.
Anyway, it's different for every soldier. It's different for every person, and that's why I put first responders, because not just police, every person that's put in a traumatic situation against other people, not just dangerous, like not an underwater welding or it's dangerous, but a situation where you might be confronted by another person. And yes, like maybe you could argue like a gas station attendant could have someone rob them, but I mean someone whose job is it to go to those situations, or even people in hospitals in the ER, because a lot of times you would have gunshot victims just dropped off, and I had experience as security at a hospital. I never thought I was going to get into law enforcement after the military. I thought, well, that's not for me. But it's not law enforcement. It's kind of in between. I thought, well, I'm helping people. But you would not believe the amount of people look at you with like you're a cop, or even think that or actually just think you're a cop because I had a badge. I had a white shirt with a badge. I'm like, no cops wear that. It's like a fire marshal or something. But people who don't know any better, they think you're a cop. And I even remember a time being on the elevator where a lady says, "Don't talk to that cop," to her kid.
I don't think you guys are.
Well, but that's what made me think about this, and that's why I want to transition to first responders and police specifically, because imagine, and I got a taste of this in security, especially from the employees in security. Like they don't like you because you're writing them tickets. They're parking the wrong thing, trying to get closer to cops, and they're doing so they still look at you like, and so I pointed about this, and specifically on police now. is that imagine having a job where you go around every day and get dirty ass looks from everybody you see, or shifty looks, or people looking away, or people running away, or people driving, avoiding you in general, or people just hating you or yelling. All the negativity. Can you imagine the negativity? So when you think, oh, that cop was a dick, well, let me tell you what. I can imagine why. Maybe he's always been that way or whatever. But I can also imagine that turning you into a dick over time. You know, feeling that adversarial feeling all day. So personally, I don't know any cops, but I do wave at them when I drive by. Nod, wave, whatever it is, because you never know when that little kindness that day. I've said this before, but like that little kindness can take the edge off, and maybe maybe that next guy he gives a break to, maybe the next person like he's not going to be so angry with or whatever. Check out some comments here. We had a guy, militia. A guy in a replica cop car dressed as a cop shoot 22 people here in Nova Scotia, Canada last year. Yeah, see, that seems like an obvious one that you think would have happened already, but that's pretty crazy for sure. But I don't know what you guys think about it. I mean, yeah, maybe it's best to not have a long conversation with police on a daily basis, but it doesn't mean that you can't smile and, hey, bro, like I'm at you. Go ahead.
There's no hiding, everything that's we're not going to discuss on here as far as corruption and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, everyone should treat everyone else with kindness, regardless.
Yeah.
Regardless, you're putting out positivity. That's what we all should do. You know what I mean?
Say that every day.
And as far as like what you were saying about first responders, it's a lot different when it's part of your job to either take or save lives. It's a lot different. You know what I mean?
It is different, but this is the thing. Whether or not you volunteer for something, having that human to human confrontation is not. It's hard on your psyche whether you think you're prepared for it or not. Whether you
and I definitely, I'm not gonna speak in depth about it, but I'm definitely an individual that can definitely be on the other side of that argument when it comes to law enforcement. But I definitely understand they do go through that daily. You know what I mean? And that definitely has a huge negative effect. Would have a negative effect on anybody.
Exactly. We'll come back to the constant adversarialness from the public that they generally feel, and then you have that corrupt cop maybe on this force, and maybe he's got the bug in his ear, but that maybe that good cop that is good cop, but he keeps getting shit on by the public, and constantly a couple of years go by. Hey, come on now, you're gonna join us, right? You're gonna join us. Well, maybe he breaks down eventually. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to try to give everybody a pass, but you can just say take every policeman and woman in the U.S. and put them in a room. You're going to have the same percentage of good and bad that you have in general society. It's the people. Like there's
Well, okay. So here's my perspective on all of it because like my brother is a cop. Okay. And like I have family that come from a big military and cop family, I should say. I don't even know why I come from I'm like the criminal thing. But anyway, beside the point. Beside the point of all that, I feel like honestly, when it comes to first responders or any military or anything like that, there is corruption. There's gonna be corruption in politics and government all the time. But I feel like the real reason why first responders and people are looked at weirdly or don't talk to the cops, it has a lot to do with the media. The agenda puts a police officer, if one police officer does it, then all of them do it. Instead of just singling that one police officer for doing something wrong, it's like their agenda is to make a cop look bad or a military guy look bad, and instead of saying no, this is what this guy was going through, PTSD, this guy had this issue, this guy had that, they'll ignore all that and just be like, whatever. And the only reason why I said it is like my brother being a cop, he tells me every day, cops, we should have therapy, we should have therapy on a regular basis. We should be able to talk to counselors on a regular basis, because a lot of the judgment is and stereotyping is from seeing effed up, like fucked up shit every day. He's like, when I see he's like, and it doesn't matter what color. He's like, it really doesn't. People think all cops are racist, and it's like, he's not true, because he'll go, I have PTSD every night. He goes, I have to deal with a white guy beating up his Hispanic girlfriend and kid, and then I have to go down on the South End and investigate a murder. So he's like, I want to be able to like have resources to talk to people. And his biggest complaint was, in the cop, being a cop, they don't have those resources. They don't give you resources. They expect
like therapy or
like therapy, to help them, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just to really like take what they're seeing, because like what you're saying, like, you were in the military. Anybody that goes to the military, or anybody that, like, is a first responder, a hospital doctor, a nurse, anybody, a firefighter, anybody that is a situation where they are saving someone else's life or having to put in that situation, the biggest thing is they ignore what they see. They feel like, oh, well, you chose that profession, you should be able to deal with it. No, it's like they forget that, no, you guys still have feelings. You still have to process what you guys are seeing over Iraq. If you're a cop, you have to, because like my brother was,
everybody's different on that, for sure.
I think it really stems from like the just in generalized blanket concept of mental health in general is not taken seriously by any means. When they say that I have mental health issues, everybody, it thinks of the most dramatic, like just schizophrenia or bipolar or something they've seen in a movie somewhere that's been dramatized. Nobody actually thinks about the big things, the small things, the functioning, the non-functioning.
Exactly.
Nobody thinks about the fact that those people have to get up every day knowing that that might be the last fucking day they walk this earth. And the first person that they run into is going to call them a fucking pig or call them names and disrespect them. And like Waylon said earlier, like, I'm huge on the whole concept of smile when people walk by. I don't care who you are, if you look grumpy or whatever, that one little smile does amazing things. They don't even realize it at the time. I've had situations where I just had an absolute shit day and I was really upset about everything and just, a petty bitch. And I remember I went into the drive-thru and the first person that I saw, the girl at the window, smiled at me and she was like, I hope you have a really good day. And I was like, totally average, totally normal interaction. But it gave me that little bit of a smile. And I went up to the next window and I paid for the next 2 cars behind me because it made me feel so much better. And I was like, you know what? She didn't have to do that, but she did. And it was so selfless and so small, but it made a big impact on me.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, because I that's why I always tell people to ignore other people too, because like at the end of the day, everyone's going to talk about you. So it's like, just like spread, like I always say, spread kindness, kill it with kindness. I'm like, screw arguing with people, screw the toxicity.
Sound like me.
With kindness, because it's like, at the end of the day, you're gonna have people talk about you and all that stuff. You're gonna have people look at you funny. You're gonna have people judge you. Hell, I get judged. I have a mental health issues that people like look at me, they're like whatever, but like I was never in the military, but I suffer from PTSD,
right? And I don't know if you heard that, Jules, but we're definitely gonna make full episodes on other ones too.
I'm just saying, like, I totally understand the PTSD, because like,
what's that noise?
Who's got the car horn going off?
But anyway, no, I'm just saying, like, I totally get the PTSD shit. I totally get the shit.
Well, but to your point, though, and by the way, guys, any of you guys that need to take a break, oh, that's fireworks, that you can do it like what she did. You can mute and take your camera down. But back to that, though. But when you said kill them with kindness, this is the thing about, at least with me, and I think a lot of veterans I could probably speak for. And real quickly, I want to say hi to Joe. I hope he didn't leave already, but he was trying to say hi to me. I did serve with him overseas. Actually, there was a picture of him on that the slide. I don't know if you saw that or not, Joe. But anyway, I don't want to be coddled. I don't want to be treated like I'm less than, and no one does, right?
I get the same,
right, but my thing is, when someone thinks that you're broken in any way, sometimes they'll treat you with kid gloves or whatever.
Yeah.
But as a veteran, that's my perspective, is that you want to be treated like useful. You want to be treated like a whole person still.
Yeah, and that's the problem when you guys come back from, because my ex went to Afghanistan, Iraq, served 20 years in the Marines. So like I always do the my dad was part of the Marine veteran biker gang club or whatever in Peoria. Park Club. He was a chaplain for it. But my ex was part of it too. And one thing that he said that he did not like when he came back, everybody was like treating him like he was this like 12-year-old kid that didn't
He was
know
going to go postal any second.
Go postal and all that. And he's like, all I wanted to do was try to go back to normal fucking life. And when he told me that, I was like, I'm not going to treat you, like, because I'm around. I can't baby you because I'm just not the babying type. But I understood where he was coming from. And I'm like, I don't even know why people would look at you like that. And like people look at me like that because they automatically look at media and they think what they see in the media is what I went through. It's like I have PTSD for other reasons. It's not because of the war. It's more than that. And he want to be treated as a human being. Now he like lives in Montana and he's like growing bees and shit and smoking weed and living in peace and harmony, like off the grid, because he just got tired of, trying to please people and, trying to get normalcy. And he was like, fuck it, I'm going off the grid. So I think
I'm interested in this perspective of you guys who have family members or fathers that were in the military, because specifically that's one of the problems I had coming back, is because my family didn't know how to treat me. They didn't know that I had an issue, and I wasn't going to tell them, hey, like I told my daughter years later that I medicate, and that at times you may have seen me when I didn't have the money to buy any, and I was not happy or I was angry, and I explained it to her. But at the time, like somebody said earlier, I'm not sure who said it, but you think, well, why is he always angry? Why is my dad angry? Of course, some dads are just angry, alcohol or whatever. But for me, it was, I was still trying to grasp my loss of self-worth. That's right. I always say that. I can't remember this time for some reason. But yeah, I was still grasping that. I was still trying to find my way, and I didn't have custody of my daughter, and there was that whole battle. I came home and I was taken to court because I don't want to get too deep, and I'm not trying to drag her mom through the mud, but it's like she thought I should pay more than I paid. And it's like, come on now, it's like all this needless stuff that was just dragging me further and further into this hole. And I mean, it was 10 years, that I spent trying to figure out what the hell. And that's my daughter's like main, adolescence. But she's 19. She'll be 20 here shortly.
Oh, mine turned 20 last year. She'll be 21 this year.
21. Go ahead, KJ.
With my dad and stuff, he came back. He definitely had anger issues and stuff. He definitely suffered from that. And I mean, I moved out when I was 15, but that's just because
were you forced, or just because you needed to get away?
It was me and my dad didn't get along at all. So
but I don't know if this is true or not. I'll ask you, Waylon, but when you were saying earlier about that institutionalized, when you came back, was it that same? I feel like they also veterans need that same time to integrate back into society and have that decompression time and that period of time where you're gonna be messed up no matter what.
We had 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Actually, a couple months. It was a couple months before we had to return back to duty. That wasn't a couple months before you had to pay your bills. That wasn't a couple months before. I think there was some. I think a lot of it was postponed, actually. So I think we had a couple months off, to be honest. But
that's not enough time.
No.
All right.
Because I kind of feel like too. For me, it was double-sided because it was that integration back into society, but where I knew I was messed up, and then I thought I was all right like 4 or 5 months later, because I even acknowledged I was messed up and needed that time to integrate back into society. But 6 months later, thinking I'm all right, and then something comes up that brings something up back, and you realize, fuck, I'm not all right.
No,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, like I specifically my I don't know if you want to call it my PTSD, but the biggest thing that really hits me when you want to call it, when you talk about flashbacks or whatnot. No, there was no mediator, Alicia. I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that. I just was left to my own devices. I didn't have to pay bills, but for a couple months. But
mediator is somebody that they were supposed to assign you to help connect you back to the resources and stuff, and
there are resources. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of veteran resources, guys, but nobody's. There's a huge disconnect when you don't have to be at a certain place in the morning, and or otherwise you're going to get your ass reamed, or like all these consequences when you get just dropped outside the military. All of a sudden, you're not all that worried about looking for resources to make yourself feel better. You're thinking all sorts of other bad thoughts. And
I was gonna say, like what my brother said, when you first come home, all you think about is, and he put it was, said, all I could think was, how am I gonna fit in society?
I'm on video.
Bye, Kasia.
Bye.
How my
Have a good night.
Thanks for coming on.
See.
Oh yeah, good night. I didn't even know it was. But yeah, like
what's going on?
Yeah, my brother was like that.
I hope Kasia got to say what she wanted to say. I feel bad. But let me just finish by saying the one thing that that I see when I close my eyes. And then we can watch another video clip that might get some tear jerking going on in here. You guys might see it.
Don't do that.
No? Okay. Well, you'll like it. I promise. But no. So while I was over there, there was a Marine base about 3 hours west that needed more drivers. So they would resource drivers from our unit, and we made a deal with them, and we would send guys over there, and they would rotate out every couple weeks or whatever. And I ended up staying over there like one of the longest, a month or more. I forget how long, but basically working with Marines and helping them drive and haul supplies out to their little forward outpost bases. And this was the first time I had to go off base at nighttime. They had a call that a convoy, which is a string of vehicles, was attacked and on their way into the base. And so they had to leave an entire fuel tanker full of jet fuel back there. And so we were tasked with this Marine unit to go and try to recover it. And the roads outside this base were very skinny, 1-lane roads. And I'm talking, there was like a foot drop from the road to the sand. So if your wheel slipped off at all, anyway, the point is we're going down the road. We get to a 2-lane highway, and then we see this is the first time I'm off base at nighttime in Iraq, which is an incredible experience because there's no trees. The land is flat. I mean, not everywhere, but most of the time there's desert and it's flat land, and your headlights, they just go out and they just disappear. Like the light there's nothing for your light to bounce off of. So here in most places you have trees, you have reflectors, you have signs, you have buildings. There's nothing. So like, it's weird. Like all you can see is the street in front of you. So all these things I remember this because it was the first time I noticed all this stuff. And we drove on this little bobtail truck, which is a semi without a tanker. And we were just going to hook up and see if we could hook up to the tanker and pull it. And the Marines were kind of underfunded, and they may still be underfunded, poor Marines, but they did not have radios. So we didn't even have radios. First time I was off base with people I don't really know other than my co-driver, which is a guy who was actually one of those big guys that I was helping up off the ground earlier. But anyway, this is the funny part. So we're driving down the road and we see a civilian truck, and this at this time, and this changed throughout the whole year. At this time, we were not supposed to bother them. They were supposed to be able to drive no problem. And the truck drives right past us. It's 2 lanes, right? And at the most perfect timing you've ever seen in your life, the back door swings open, and the back doors on these trucks are up and down, not side to side, but like this. And this back door, steel door, it swings across, and it clears the truck hood, and it slams into my windshield and my truck. Now, mind you, this is a 932 A2s. They might be World War.
Those are Vietnam era.
Vietnam. Okay, yeah. So they're old. Anyway,
yeah.
So
60s, 70s.
It was a rag top, Chris. It was a soft top.
Yeah,
it was a skeletal structure, like was all it was in glass, and then a soft top. And so my entire windshield was gone. My entire mirror was gone. The whole top had tipped like a box, like a tipped over box, you know?
Yeah.
But we were still okay, except I'm driving 60 miles an hour with wind just rushing right at me in the windshield. And there was a little piece of glass there, and I was still kind of using that to drive. And it was so loud. I look over at my co-driver, and he's a couple feet away from me, and it's so loud that we couldn't even talk.
Couldn't talk to each other.
Yeah, sorry, Joey. It's been a while, bro. It's been a while. I used to know these things, but anyway, so I look over at him, and I'm just like, so I look over at him. like what can you do? Like there was no sign language and there was no radio. So we get to the spot, right? And so back up a second. This is why now if I close my eyes, I can see a giant steel door in my face.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Luckily it didn't take my head off, right? I mean, it should have.
Yeah, it should have.
Yeah, I got lucky.
They were designed to stay together, not break away like today's vehicles.
Right, but I might have skimmed the hood and maybe slowed down. But anyway, I saw the vehicle afterwards. It was towed back. But anyway, I had a picture somewhere. I couldn't find it. A lot of those pictures I had while I was overseas. A bunch of guys, and I think Joey might have been one of those guys that went around to all the guys in the unit and collected up all their data, like pictures, video,
and
anything from overseas, and then also like music and movies and porn and every fucking thing that there was, and they collected up from everybody there, and then they would give copies out to everybody, and then you could have like I had 9,000 pictures and video clips from overseas. But most of them are corrupted because they were been on hard drives and moved around, and I didn't keep them like. There's money you can pay some places to like keep data, fresh or whatever.
Funny girls.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Comments. Okay, so there's a comment. I hope I'm saying Alicia. Is that her name? Alicia?
Yep.
Okay, so she said that parole officers help criminals get back into society. Okay, now.
Right.
Felon. I will be honest. I'm a felon, technically. And I'm with I did a federal crime. I had a parole officer, and here's the thing: parole officers, it depends on who you have, because my parole officer just went, when can I drop and where was I living?
They're talking about like a person that's like a parole officer that's not really a parole officer, but to help you get back into society when you come back.
I feel like certain states maybe have that. I was that. I did not have any type of resources where I could go and try to get help. The only reason I had was like welfare. I just got out. Like, I need housing.
I know a lot of them do.
I need card. I need this. I need that, because they didn't really guide you. So I feel like in certain areas, yeah, you probably do get help, but in certain areas you don't. And I will veterans do have help too. But like my ex, he didn't have any type of guidance person to help him in society after he.
I will say, one of the big things that I find is a huge problem, both for veterans, just for the average homeless person or anybody that's struggling in life. I think that while yes, there are in some areas a good amount of resources, no one is ever told about the resources. Like, I'll say from a single mom perspective, there's been times where I didn't know where the next meal was going to come from, and I had no idea. I'm sitting here in absolute tears because I don't get paid for another 2 weeks or so, and I have no idea what I'm going to do because I have no idea about the resources that are available. And then when I finally did talk to somebody, like a fellow mom who had also gone through the same struggles, she was like, no, honey, and gave me like a whole list of multiple things that were readily available at any point in time. But no one ever fucking told us about it. Nobody ever tells people that are struggling there is help. And when there is help available, obviously there's some that don't have help available, but when it's there, no one ever tells anybody about it. No one ever acknowledges, hey, here's something that might potentially help you.
Yeah, they actually don't even realize too that in this Illinois, they have a veterans resource type of center or whatever, but it's in Chicago, and a lot of people don't understand that that's there because nobody tells them. But it's a place. I'll have to get the information, but it's an actual rehab center in Chicago for just veterans to help them.
All the places we have here for veterans are literally, they're just little bars.
Yeah.
You can go talk to a worker
W's and type things
in a bar.
What we have here to help veterans get back into society and everything is pill pushers. That's all we have is pill pushers, not people that really want to sit down and help. We have people that just want to sit there and push that pencil and write a prescription and say, here you go, this will help you, and send you right out the door.
It's really
That's
funny
what we have.
It's really funny that they do that with you guys. The mental health community.
We don't have people that really understand and care and want to help.
Care at all. I do,
Joey's got the disc.
3 times a week I do therapy. I have a counselor, a psychotherapist, psychologist. I speak to all of them, and every time I speak to them, it's the same. Are you doing okay? I'm like, yeah, I guess. Are you experiencing anything? Are you suicidal? No, not really. Are the meds okay? I'm like, yeah, I've been on them for a long time, so they're okay. Well, is there anything else you want to tell me? I'm like, not right now. But they don't ever ask, are you sure?
Yeah.
Here, it's a stigma. If you say that you're mentally ill, or you say that you need help, or you've had suicidal, you have to bounce around your words. I myself, when I had suicidal tendencies, that's exactly what they were. I was very aware of what they were. I knew better than to act on them, but I still had the full capability of wanting to do that with the access to it.
We can roll better
and
than that.
Here, if you even so much as mention it, you're being locked up. But then you're being locked up, and then they throw you back out on the street. Like one of my neighbors, her son went to voluntarily lock himself up because he was also a vet. And he went to go for help, and they wouldn't even accept him in, let him go. And God rest his soul, he got hit by a train because he walked on the train tracks on purpose.
Yeah.
And it disgusts me how low key everybody treats things, subtly everybody treats things, and they don't realize the impact. It's not, you see people walking around with a smile on their face or whatever. That doesn't mean that they don't go home and have the most intense flashbacks, depression, severe anxiety, PTSD, all of that. They're struggling in silence because it's so shameful to admit that you need help.
Well,
it's disgusting.
too, though, on the healthcare perspective, one of the biggest problems on the healthcare perspective too, with trying to voluntarily admit yourself into a facility, is we don't have enough facilities for mental health patients to be admitted to. So if they are at full capacity and you're suicidal, like, they don't want to turn you away, they have to, because like I've been in the mental ward 4 times, and like the 4 times the 3 times I voluntarily put myself in there. The last time I actually acted on the suicidal tendencies, took the bottle of pills, and was in ICU for 2 days. And that's why I tell people, don't ever try to kill yourself. Just go get help. I don't care if you have to go to a church and talk to a pastor. I don't care if you have to talk to your neighbor. I don't care if you have to go to the bar and talk to a bartender. Just go talk to someone. Talk to the damn librarian. I don't care. Just go talk to someone. Because when I was in the mental ward all 4 times, the biggest complaint at the facility I was at, every one of the nurses, even the psychiatrist, I wish we had enough room. I wish we had enough beds. You're one of the lucky ones, because if you weren't in the ICU and if you didn't act upon it, we would have had to take you out, because we didn't really have capacity to hold you. It's like so much behind it. We need to back the mental health facility.
Well, and the VA system was similar, because.
But make it not back in the day. Like, we don't need any botulisms or anything like that. We just bigger facilities so people can go get help. Because I'm first to admit, when I am fucked up, I go to the hospital every time now, because I don't do anything stupid after what I did. So it's like one of those things, I go. But if they reject me, the second place I go, and I'm not religious, I go to a Catholic church. All because I know I can tell the priest in a confessional what the hell I'm thinking, and he can give me some type of direction not to do it. And it's so weird to do that, because like I said, I got doctors I talk to, but I feel like talking to normal people or people that are the same, or even like I said, going to that priest that I go to every while just to state what I have to feel, it helps, because sometimes you have to work on yourself, because we don't have those resources.
Here's the thing though about go ahead, Tristan.
Well, I was going to share like a personal kind of long story. So my kid's dad dealt with a lot of mental health issues that were undiagnosed for a very, very long time. His mom on a daily basis would take 34 pills in the morning. She was schizophrenic, bipolar. Like, if she didn't take them, she would have been crazy. So he had a lot of undiagnosed things that were kind of genetic and, fell down the line. And he never really got any help. And unfortunately, instead of getting help, he decided that he wanted to numb things with, drugs and alcohol and things like that. And unfortunately, that ended up taking over him in a sense where he wasn't there for the kids and things like that. So fast forward, when he passed away, the situation in which he passed away, John was always, he had attempted his life before. But it was always if there was somebody there that could intervene, or somebody there that would help or stop him or something. And so when he had passed, I think that was the same mentality he had. He talked about the kids, myself, and stuff like that, and then left the house party. And I think he was under the impression that somebody would have taken him seriously and followed him. Unfortunately, nobody did. And he did end up taking his life that night. So ever since then, I really, I've taken a lot of mental health seriously, especially when it comes to my kids, because I know that they've been through a lot. And the last thing I want is for them to grow up and wonder, why didn't my mom do more to help me? And I take it so seriously to the point where I might get a lot of backlash for saying this, but understand that I've literally been doing this myself since my kids were born, trying to figure out what to do. I've had to take my 2 oldest kids to the mental health ward twice. My older son, who is on the spectrum and suffers with ODD, I had to take him to the adult mental health ward here. They took everything very seriously, the circumstances and situations that happened. Unfortunately, they literally just gave us some pills, told us they put in some referrals, We didn't hear anything from them for almost a year. A year passes, and then I had to take my daughter and my son back. So we took them over to the McMaster Children's Mental Health Hospital. And when we were talking to the girl at the desk, like the triage and stuff, they were saying, yeah, we're going to take them in. Like, the circumstances were at a point where I feared my kids. Like, they were honestly dangerous. So I took them to the hospital, and they all agreed, yes, we're going to admit these kids. Like, if you want to stay with them, that's fine. But, you know, if you want to go stay at a friend nearby, that's also fine. So we were sitting there in the waiting room, and then we had 3 doctors come in, and they told us that we couldn't be admitted anymore, not because they didn't have room, but because there was a 14-year-old who was having violent tendencies, and his violent tendencies were towards small children. And he had already attempted the life of a nurse that was watching him. So they were, at this point, now starting to turn away even kids that were genuinely sick, sending them to a different hospital. And it was really frustrating because I felt like this is the place where people go bring their kids and where kids go, because it's supposed to be adapted for the kids that need that mental health help in the wards. But they ended up turning away so many people, and their exact quote to me was, just go home, give them a couple of Gravol or some melatonin, and let us know if it gets any more dangerous.
You want to know something? There's just something you said that their father suffered from mental health, right? So, like, my mother is schizoaffective, so she's bipolar and schizophrenic. I am bipolar affective, which just means I'm schizophrenic, but
he was omnipolar.
It was my bipolar 1 out trumps my schizophrenia. So, like, I got 8 people living in my head right now, but a lot of it's like genetic. Because the only reason why I said that is because, because like I have it, my mom has it, her sister has it. Like, her sister literally, you know, has a form of bipolar that it's like to the point where she crossed over and she's like me. It's like we get into our own reality and stuff like that. So don't feel ashamed that you did the right thing, because you did. People have to, like, understand that some mental health is genetic. You know, my mom is still to this day, like, in denial and won't take it.
I think that's the part that I struggle with the most, though. It's like,
don't you want to know something?
I spent a good 10 years with their dad, trying so hard to benefit his mental health, to make him be better, feel better. Look, anything that I could possibly do.
Backlash for this, okay? This whole box filled with.
I got a backpack.
That I freaking.
I got a backpack that I have to carry mine in.
You know what I'm saying? To make myself normal.
Don't take all those at once, Jules. Ima, did you have something?
I can't take them all at once. Like, I literally.
I thought you had something, man. I'm sorry.
It's like
from earlier.
It's a pain in the ass, but what I'm just saying, don't ever feel like you're a bad mom because you're getting your kids help, or that, like, you're sitting there taking them to a physician.
I think the part that I struggle with the most is the fact that I was with their dad for 10 years and I felt like I couldn't help him.
You can't help
it didn't matter what I did, how long I was invested, or what I gave to him. I couldn't make him any better. I couldn't help him want to be better. And it scares me a lot with the kids, because I do see a lot of tendencies from him, but because the only thing he was diagnosed with at the time was omnipolar. So I don't know how extensive it was or anything like that, but I know that there's moments like when my son goes into rage fits, he gets that blacked out eyes, like, and he's only 8. And like, I see those, and he came to me the one day and he was like, Mom, I think my brain is broken. And I asked him what he meant, and he said that his brain tells him things, his brain will do things, it will picture things. And we had a long, extensive talk about it, which kind of, you know, definitely lit a fire under my ass. But then through a whole year, he's 8 now. I've been begging since he was 2 to have him see a pediatrician. And it's only been until 4 days ago that they just started trauma therapy because nobody was taking it seriously. They're children. They're just grieving. It's fine. No, there's a lot going on here to the point where I genuinely was scared of my kids.
I'm going to jump out of here, Waylon.
Okay. Good night, Chris.
Good night.
I got family just showed up. All right. Good night, y'all.
Good night.
Have a good one.
But I don't want you to your fault, because people like me that like have actually attempted suicide, there isn't anything. Like I talked about my side before I did it. Like I talked to a few people. Like I was telling people, like, I just feel like I want to die. I want to kill myself and everything. People told me all the time, don't do it, all this stuff. There's nothing you can do, because mentally it's a psychosis thing. We're not in reality. The reality that we are in a reality that isn't part of the real world. We're in our own, especially when we're schizophrenic. And it sounds like he possibly could be schizophrenic, because that's my biggest issues. I've learned how to control my schizophrenia with a lot of therapy, but because I have to pay, which sucks because my insurance doesn't pay for a lot of it, but I do it because I want to be functional with it. But like, as long as you're like making sure they see somebody and talk to somebody, get them on the right medication, get them on.
I had to lose my mind on them for them to actually do anything.
You'll be fine. But I don't want you to blame yourself for the man that you loved for 10 years. Why that? Because I'm telling you, and his mind, the kids he loved to death. I loved my kids to death. You know what I'm saying? But my reality at the time was I just wanted to give up. I was going through cancer. I was working 2 jobs, sick all the time. I'm a single mom with 4 children. I'm dealing with their fathers. I just wanted to be done. I was like, I can't do it anymore. I already have cancer. We're done. People told me every day, you'll get through it. Everything will be fine. And my mom blamed her like it's fault. It's no one's fault for our thoughts. It's just us mentally ill and not having, the medication we need to calm those thoughts.
That's the thing about family, is they start to think that that there's something that they did, or maybe that you don't like them for some reason, being the person that has PTSD.
Right.
Give me a second here. Let me just tell Fonzie down here in the waiting room, Mr. Okay, so Corey, this is not our normal hang out and chill session. Okay, this is I hope you have something to bring to the table here. We're going to give you a shot, and I want to see what your story is. If you have and we're trying to stick to veterans, first responders type of a theme if we can, because there's just so many different types of PTSD. So here we are with Mr. Fonzie. Mr. Fonzie, do you want to give us an introduction? Who are you?
Who am I? Everybody knows me.
No, we don't. Corey, this is going to be going on YouTube. This is going to be going to other people. This isn't a.
All right.
I'm Corey Fransky.
I can tell you some stories about some PSTD too.
Well, PSTD.
Not being in the military or first responders, but from other shit I've dealt with in my life.
Okay, well, I hear that, brother, and we're going to be making more episodes. We're going to do like a what do we call it, Trista? Not social abuse, the
domestic violence.
Domestic violence, yeah. We'll go ahead, Jules.
Wait, one on domestic violence too?
We're going to not next week, but we're going to, like, every couple of episodes, we're going to come back to this series on PTSD, which is, so we don't need to beat the dead horse tonight. I mean, I have a couple more videos to show, but so let's try to stick to the topic. And I don't mean to make it sound selfish either, but I'm doing this topic specifically just because I have information and I have firsthand experience. So it was easier for me to set up our first episode. But by all means, guys, get a hold of me if you have a topic idea. But it's not just a topic idea. Hold on, Jules. It has to be something near and dear to you. So, Jules, specifically you could talk about. We could do a mental health episode.
Actually,
we can do.
I wouldn't. I would actually rather if you.
You're cutting out. I want to do a microphone episode for you, honestly. Ima, what did you say?
I was telling her to wait.
Sorry, I don't mean to use a finger, guys. I try to use a visual too, so that way, in case we're cutting each other out or something. So no offense there, but I appreciate it, Jules. I know it's annoying, but I couldn't hear half of what you were saying. But I kind of lost track here. Oh, but to the point of these episodes, we're not gonna try to beat the PTSD to death, but we're gonna every few episodes we'll come up with another theme that may have to do with it. So Corey, just tell me real quickly what you think the category would be. Did you have a parents, or was it like a spousal thing? What did you get injured?
Well, as a kid, I was a sick kid. Was in the hospital a lot. Almost died a couple times from pneumonia.
Okay. See, now we could spin that a different way. I mean, PTSD for sure, and I guess you can kind of connect that to a lot of things. But we could say, child sickness, and how were you in the hospital a lot? That kind of thing. So you had that experience. So that's a hell of an experience. Like I was really
tubes in my nose, shit down my throat. Fucking.
Yeah, we could definitely work on something for sure. I'd be happy to talk to you about that. I think it sounds like you were definitely traumatized for sure. Did you have to see therapy after that?
Well, I have some issues still from that, but I mean,
I've actually
Here's the thing, though. I've overcome most of them. I figured out my own way to overcome most of my issues.
Yeah. Is it the Bud Ice?
No, not the Bud Ice. Actually,
come on now.
I'm down to 2 a day.
Really?
Nice.
I'm proud of you. You're muted, Jules. I'll mute you. See what you got.
Yeah, I was getting rough there for a while, and I wasn't liking it too much.
Give us a
I
go,
just wanted
Jules.
to make sure you can hear me better.
Oh, that's better. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
No, what I was gonna say is, if you wanted to do a topic on me, I'd rather talk about domestic abuse, just because of everything that's going on with the Johnny and shit. And I just got some pictures I
hold
want to
on
show.
though. You have some direct experience in that probably in the past, right?
I have direct experience
Right,
and photographs.
and I know I'm not going to call anybody out, but I know a few others do as well. But
so
I'm
that
thinking
would be cool.
that's a great idea. But here's the thing, Jules. There's going to be multiple too. So like you could do that as the first one. And again, like you guys saw what I did. I did a quick little clip with some pictures and maybe a bullet point thing. And I can work with you guys on those kind of things. So we'll work on that. But there's gonna be another one too, and you may not be on every episode, and it's gonna be sort of a rotating cast. So
no, I think that's
really,
cool.
Yeah,
because I can't be on every episode.
And I'll just tell you guys real quick that my inspiration for this style, and just to try to shout them out, is this YouTube channel over. I'm sure other people do it, but it's called Geeks and Gamers. I don't watch them all the time, but it's an interesting podcast because they'll be on for like 6 hours talking about all sorts of pop culture and video games and weird different things. But they have like 8 to 10 people on the screen, and it somehow works. And I really like that. And I was like, we could do that. We kind of do that.
I've seen that. You can have up to 10 people.
Right. That is thanks to Mr. Ima Byrne right there. Thank you, Ima. Appreciate that.
What up, Ima?
I didn't do anything.
Okay, he doesn't want credit. All right. He pitched in a few bucks.
It was an anonymous donation.
It's more like this. Thanks to the spaceship.
Are you going out, T?
Let's watch something that's gonna drip some tears. Okay.
You're just doing your makeup. I should do my makeup.
I just wanted to see if I could fucking do the cat eye.
Oh, thank you. Okay. All right, are you guys ready?
Mm-hmm. Yes, T.
This guy up in the right-hand corner, specialist Matt Hoppin. Actually, he lost his life overseas. That's me. My first time seeing my daughter after the year. I did see her on like a 2-week break, and do that. She's gonna be freaking 20 years old. my mama right there. She might not be happy with me putting her on here, but it's okay, mama. It's good.
Waylon, I don't like you, man.
Is everybody okay? I teared up a little bit, I'll be honest.
I don't even like you, dog. Like, you got me in my feelings and shit. I was talking to Steve. I'm like, look. I'm like, Steve, look. He was like holding his daughter. Steve looking at me like, are you okay? I'm like, no, because it's all lovey-dovey and shit. I'm like, thanks a lot, Waylon. I said don't show no lovey-dovey shit. God damn it.
I literally put that together with like 20 minutes to spare.
That was so beautiful. She all was hugging on her daddy and shit. It was all cute.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Anyway. Stop doing that. What's wrong with you?
You know what happened? It's PTSD. We're talking about today, guys. So yeah, that was it.
You got my husband looking at me like I done more than just weed today, because I'm sitting over here going, damn, they look all cute and happy. And, you know, hugging his daughter and shit. I'm about to go hug my children. I don't even like them today. Damn it, Waylon.
I don't even like them right now.
I don't even like you for that. Why you put those pictures up?
You guys see how tan I was, though? I mean, come on.
You were tan. You need to go outside.
You're looking like a pimp.
I was going to say, you need to go back outside because you can tan. But I don't like them pictures because they was too cute.
Wow.
It's like I'm going to go tell my daughters I love them even though they got on my nerves all day.
I'm trying to find.
If you about to show all these sad pictures, I'm going to get off because you're going to really make me love my kids and I'm really like don't want to today.
No, that was it. That was all my pictures. I was trying to find our exit video. But just
I'm telling you, you got me in my feelings.
We still have plenty to talk about. I think I really respect people that put themselves in harm's way. I couldn't be a combat MOS, so I was in a support MOS, which is the military.
Thank you for that compliment. But, putting your life in danger and all that, because I've done that multiple times. So thank you for that compliment.
Well, that's why I'm trying to isolate the PTSD as a little bit smaller category, and that's why I almost didn't want to put PTSD in the title, but it's hard not to, because I'm given my firsthand experience, but that's a totally different experience than, say, domestic violence. And now I can talk about domestic violence too, because I've also had that situation against me. So those type of things could be a huge topic for sure. So I guess we could start to wrap things up then in that case, if we're pretty much beating the topic to death. But let's see what people have to say here. I mean, there's been a lot of conversation in the chat, and I appreciate that. Oh, by the way, if you guys could go ahead and hit the like button if you don't mind. I mean, I wasn't really harping on it the whole time. I don't want to have to do that, but it would help out. I appreciate it. Or maybe share this out, because I'm not trying to share this to a bunch of groups that may or may not want to see this type of content. I don't know any specific groups that would. I did share it out to my unit, my military unit.
You can share it in Smoke Buddies.
I'll tell you what, my wife would probably really like getting on here too and telling you some stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely not a limited. It's not a smoker's thing. So I mean, I'm okay with it if you do during the cast, but
keep it to a minimum.
Well, no, not even that. I put a disclaimer in front of this. I said, this is for mature audiences. Yeah. This is. I also said there may be some adult language, some alcohol, and some smoking, etc. So I'm trying to leave.
Bong.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I got this as my reception present from my husband.
Nice.
I woke up and he's like, "Look what I got," and I was like, "You love me. You really love me."
So let me ask, Jules. Did you say you had did you say your parent or somebody was a veteran or no?
Yes. So My grandfather is a veteran. My father is a veteran.
So
I have
all of you guys
4
have parents that were
uncles.
veterans. Wow,
I
4.
have 4 uncles that were veterans,
You're like, I'm not done.
my godfather, who I love so much,
Jeez.
he's a veteran, and he served for 30 years in the Air Force, and he went to Vietnam and a few wars.
So why I ask that is every one of you guys have veteran parent or fathers, right? Or somebody
Yes,
in your family.
I
I did not. My dad told me it was going to be the worst mistake I ever made, and I don't think so. I appreciated the time. Things happen, but perspective from you guys, and I'm going to throw it back to Trista here because I don't remember hearing if you gave this perspective. But did you guys remember having a point in your life where you were like, afraid of your dad specifically, I guess, because that's sort of my scenario, because of his PTSD, but you didn't know that at the time? And then my question is, did you have a point where that clicked as you got older and you were like, oh, there's a lot more going on there and it had nothing to do with me? Or do you still kind of feel, like...
Do I go?
I feel like...
Oh, okay.
Let's
You asked her
first, and I'm going to go around the room in a circle. All 4 of you guys have.
I can have something to say about this too.
You will, and that's why I'm
let Trista go.
So my dad did the Canadian Special Forces, demolition and destruction, and he dealt with a lot of mines and bombs and stuff like that. So I think growing up, my dad was extraordinarily aggressive, very easily triggered. And I think my dad was pretty open for a long time that he was upset I wasn't a boy. And I think there was a lot of drive that, he was going to have a son that was going to do the same thing and go into the military and be strong and all this. And when he had a daughter, it was hard for him to ever pull himself out of that mindset. So he still drove me to try and do cadets or try and enlist in the military or something. And it just wasn't something that I wanted. And that kind of angered him a little bit more. And I feel like growing up, I felt like a level of resentment from him. Like I was not going to be enough. I wasn't going to be good enough for him. And my dad was extraordinarily aggressive and violent with me for a large portion of my life. And I didn't tell anybody until I was probably about 12 years old. And that's when my parents split and I moved with my mom, and we ended up being in 2 completely different cities, 7 hours apart. And that was about the time that I started realizing maybe it was less about his resentment towards me and it had more to do with what he had gone through and what he had experienced that he could never really talk about. But my dad was also very much in denial constantly. He never thought he had PTSD. He never thought there was anything wrong. He didn't do anything like that.
So maybe he never acknowledged it, which maybe makes it a lot harder for family to acknowledge it. That they say that with addiction, the first step is acknowledging the problem or acknowledging that you have a problem. And for me, I'll throw it to you, Ima, real quick, but I actually went through rehab for marijuana, and that was mandated by the military. And everyone in rehab is like, "What are you doing here? You're here for what? Who told you to do that?" And so it's kind of a joke,
The same thing happened to me.
Yeah. Well, but yeah. So enough about that. Ima, go ahead, buddy. Let me hear it. Did you have
I hate to do this, Waylon, but I gotta go eat.
Go ahead, buddy. You can do that. It's no rush. This is informal, and that's the point. It's not supposed to be too dry, too cookie cutter, suit and tie. Go ahead. You're good.
There's a few things I want to say though, real quick before I get off. Way back to earlier when we were talking about coming back after serving and getting out and stuff like that, and that wearing the uniform, being looked at different from society and all that stuff like that, does play a huge psychological role on trauma when you come back and you're in society and you are looked at different, and there is nothing for that. And then on to what Julia was talking about the help you get after you get out, and what Trista was talking about too, about the resources and stuff. That's the huge gap that we're actually missing, is the people to connect you to those resources and things that can help you. There's a huge gap in that. And those people got to be people that understand those people that help, that need that help. So
and not want to push them off. Yeah, not want to just get,
And there is not that. And I could definitely speak on all that stuff, especially as far as institutionalization goes and things like that. Like, I've literally have written ink on grievances that went to court for lawsuits for prisoners' rights and shit like that. But I don't want to have that hijack the show.
No, we could totally make an episode about that.
But that's a huge thing. And but as far as the help they need during service, like law enforcement, military, and stuff like that, there's things I think should be required before you even go to do something like that. Like law enforcement, there's different schooling that should be done before you even become a police officer, in my opinion.
Some sort of human resources.
Like, you should know about psychology. You should know about sociology. You should know about philosophy. You should know about these things, because you have to deal with that shit on a daily basis.
You know what
I mean?
Can I say something?
That, and all this trauma.
You're next.
No, I just want to tell him something. What's fucked up about that, the police don't have to do it, but DNR, to be in conservation, you got to have like 6 or 7 different degrees and different shit like that to be in conservation.
I know, even from both sides, people that have served or been in law enforcement and criminals themselves, they all agree. The ones that are career, that they say after a certain point in time, you shouldn't even do that anymore. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. There should be a limit upon that, because just the time alone, there are so many factors and so much problems and stuff that you shouldn't really work a job like that for 30, 40 years. You know what I mean? And I think that's something that should be talked about a little too, especially in major cities.
Yeah, we can definitely talk about that. I mean, burnout for sure is a thing. I mean, the whole going postal thing was a real thing. But yeah, I mean,
but like that veterans thing dude said earlier, your buddy or whatever, he put in, I never heard of him. The military one resource.
Now,
the military resource page.
There are resources for veterans. There's tons, but here's the problem: finding them. And the other problem is, I think we should, to your point, Ima, having a expansion on the resources, I think would be having people or liaisons, you might want to call it, reaching out to veterans, not the other way around. Like, you might have a veteran that just wants anyone to call him. Like, somebody call me, and then he's like ready to take his life. But,
yeah,
you have this phone call. Hey, we just want to check in on you, see how you're doing. Just want to remind you that you have these benefits, and it looks like in the system you haven't even drawn from this, and this benefit. Oh, hey, and there's this one. Like somebody calling you like you won the lottery almost. Well, hey, we see these benefits you haven't taken up.
There's already a strong possibility too that you're not even in the right place to even be able to reach out to ask for that help. You know what I mean?
Reach out. No one doesn't mean you won't answer though. If somebody's reaching out, and I'll put this to my brothers in arms. Joey, I think, has actually reached out to me in years past, back when I didn't care to respond. Maybe we'll talk offline, Joe. But the amount of people that I considered brothers that sort of dropped me like a bad habit, I'm tainted goods now. He smokes the wacky tobacco. We lost Trista.
He just said too that those individuals, they are all soldiers with degrees in psychology and all that stuff too.
Who is
that? The military one.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Exactly, and that's Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's what was I saying? But yeah, so it just I'm surprised with the amount of family and friends and people that they sort of and but this is the thing though, and I don't want to be one-sided about it because everybody has their life, right? So if you're sitting around thinking, well, how come no one's calling me, maybe you're not calling them. Maybe, so there's a two-way street there, but at the same time, this Facebook thing is funny. You can have all these friends on Facebook and never see them. And this goes back to the whole saying hi to people even if they look like they're having a bad day on Facebook. What happens when you send somebody when I hit like on your post on whatever, however dumb it is, or a picture or whatever? When I hit like on your post, in my head, I'm sending you a little hit of dopamine. I'm sending you a little bit of up. I'm sending you a little bit of happy, that day. Or I don't know how to put it. I'm rambling, but my point is like when you have somebody you friend, you like their stuff not because you really looked into it real hard, but hey, I know this boosts them up. I know this helps them in the algorithm. I know this helps them feel better because they get more likes. I mean, not that that's a good thing either. We could talk about that another time, but go ahead, Ima.
You put up that bullet point thing earlier, and on there it said, I don't know if I'm not wording this quote, it's not quote or whatever, but something like you should invite them over even if they're not going to come. And I was going to say something about that earlier about the coddling them after they, come back and all that shit. That's a big point because everybody has that tough guy friend where you buy them the gift and they're like, why the fuck did you buy me that on that tough shit? But inside, they're like, oh, he got me a gift. You know what I mean? This is awesome. It's just the fact that you actually reached out, you know what I mean, and asked. You acknowledged their presence. You paid attention to them. You gave them that, you know what I mean? Which is what you, in any positive relationship, there should always be. You know what I mean? You don't have to hover over them. You can just say, hey, you know what I mean? And not give them shit. Oh, come on, come over. Don't do that. Just ask. You know what I mean?
I do. So yeah, let you go eat. You're fine.
Yeah, I gotta get
pretty much
go eat.
Peace out, Ima.
Bye.
Yeah, everybody have a good night.
Thank you. We'll talk to you soon. Oh, Trista's phone died.
Is it my turn to tell my story? And then I'm going to get off too. Because I'm going to go back to what you were talking about with aggression and stuff from the family members.
Yeah. Let's let Jules go and then Corey, and then we'll give it a wrap.
Okay, so my dad wasn't the aggressive one. He was more of the one that wanted to give back, and wanted everybody to just like be in peace, and he just wanted everybody. Now my grandfather, though, on the other hand, he was very strict and different. But the thing about my family, they never we're not a quiet family. Like any type of issue that we have, we always talked about it. So like growing up, I knew that my grandfather's aggression wasn't because he hated us. I knew he had PTSD and other issues, with it.
So you were aware, but it was still...
I was aware. Like I was always aware. Like that's one thing I love. I can't stand my family, and they know that. But I love my family because when there is an issue, we do not ignore it. We always talk about it. It's never ignored. But my grandfather, we would trigger him sometimes when there were 7 kids, so, and we lived next door. And, my mom biologically, only 4 of us, there's biological, but, she was a foster parent. And I just remember, like, he hated, going... Like, he hated us going on his lawn. Like, he really hated us going on his grass. And I remember he would get so upset to the point where his aggression would be like, go get a switch off the tree. I'm going to spank you. Right. Like, that was his aggression. But I also remember after he calmed down, he would always come and apologize and then try to explain to us, like, when I tell you guys something, you guys are triggering me and I'm having flashbacks of certain things. And he would try to explain. So I just feel it was like, I just appreciate that my grandfather was honest. So I knew what was wrong. So I didn't think it was my fault when he did get upset, when he did want to smack us, or if he yelled at us or cussed us out for some reason, because that's how he was. You know, he was the type of guy that I feel like he didn't have control over it. You know,
Sure.
like he didn't do it all the time, but there were certain things that, like, little things that would trigger him, and it would be like, you know, guns blazing. And I remember my grandmother would always be like, you know, you guys, if you guys do this, he wouldn't get so mad. But one thing I
I'm
will
glad
say,
that
he
I tried.
never hit my grandmother. I will say he was never abusive to the grandmother, my grandmother. He never hit her or anything, so I do appreciate that. But he was very aggressive towards the kids. But I kind of appreciate that he was aggressive towards us too, in a way, and pushed us, and he was strict and hard as well, though.
You need
So it was
that
kind
too.
of like a, yeah, it was kind of like, I hate that my grandfather is aggressive, but like he would literally get mad and then cool off and then come and love us. So it was like, okay, I guess we just needed to be disciplined. You know, he always took his PTSD and turned it into a disciplining thing.
That's
And
what I
I
try
just
to do
always
with my son.
appreciated it.
I stop and
Yeah,
I say,
like,
I'm sorry, Daddy, sorry. I didn't mean to get angry, but or I mean, if it's a situation where I feel it's legitimate, I mean, I'm still gonna stick to the discipline. But other times, I try to acknowledge, and I also show him way more love than I was ever shown by my dad. But back
yeah, isn't
to
that crazy
right,
though? Like,
right.
because it's crazy that you say that, because, you know, my grandfather was the veteran, and he helped, you know, raise me in a way, and he had PTSD severely bad, like, you know, night terrors, couldn't sleep type things. You know, there would be sometimes he'd freak out, and like when we lived in Trevoli for a little bit, we had to leave the farm because he would sometimes wake up in the middle of the night and just look at the cornfields because he would think somebody was there, and he would
Hmm.
have a gun. And my grandmother was like, no, we need to move somewhere where he's not so freaked out, you know, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
See, I didn't
it's
get
funny.
angry either, but I got angry, but I didn't. I was more of a brooding, more introspective, more steaming. Like what's wrong with Dad because he's quiet and stuff, and it's because I'm angry because I felt like my family wasn't, or I don't know what acknowledging me or what is it? I don't know how to put it. Maybe
I
they
understand
it's
what
like
you're
you want
saying.
people to read your mind. You can't
Or just be able
articulate
to
it
talk to
yourself.
them, or, you know, ask them like what's wrong. I will say the person in my family that did the most abuse and has PTSD. And she has PTSD. My mother has PTSD because she witnessed my grandmother being murdered. And in the process of that,
Oh,
um,
sorry, that's not
oh
what I
no,
want.
you're good. In the process, am I still on here? Yeah,
You're
okay.
still, yep.
In the process of her seeing that, my grandfather was actually my uncle, but, you know, he raised my mom. So to her, it was mom and dad because they got her young. But my mom was actually more of the abuse one that didn't show love to the kids. Like, she would throw shoes, she would hit us with belts, she would. I remember I came home from school, a rumor went out, and she believed it, and she literally took a rod and hit me for like a good 45 minutes.
Yeah, that will definitely be a good
So,
episode because a lot of us have
but that
parental.
was stemmed to PTSD though. Like, I know she's not a veteran or anything, but it's like PTSD is that serious, you know? And my mom till
Well,
this
there's
day,
also addiction is runs in genetics, and a lot of times
it
addiction will
is.
cause anger and all sorts of other,
It is.
emotional.
It's
But
just so much. It is so much. But like I said, my grandfather, yes, I always called it discipline. He yelled at us, he cussed us out. I will say that his PTSD led him into a life where he couldn't keep a job, like he couldn't work at Caterpillar or anything like that. So he resorted to selling marijuana most of his life. So that's where I learned some things from. I'm just saying. But anyway, I'm just saying, like, his PTSD, like, he could not socially be around people because that's how his PTSD affected him. He's very antisocial. He wanted to be to himself. He wanted to hang out with the grandkids. We were trying not to make him mad as much as we could, but when we did, he did. But he loved us a little bit after, and that was him. That was him. And my brother, he's aggressive too. When he comes, I know when not to talk to him. I haven't talked to him in 3 weeks because if I talk to him, I know I will get cussed out. So I'm letting him chill out. And that's from PTSD too. He went over to, Afghanistan, saw some stuff, witnessed some stuff, and he's on Facebook talking now about how I'm sick of this and that. And I just comment, you'll get through it. And that's all I'm going to say, because it's like if I reach out, he will be like, why are you calling me? I said what I said, it just, it's whatever. But everybody has problems. But anyway, I'm going to get off of here too and wrap it up and let Corey go.
Corey's going to bring it home for us.
And he's going to bring it
home.
Yes, you're going to bring it home. Make sure everybody follows Smoke Buddies Illinois on Facebook and downloads the Smoke Buddy Illinois app on
Trying
iOS.
to get to my chair.
On Apple, and join the social media world of weed.
Okay. Too damn dark in my backyard.
Thank you, Waylon, for having me on as well too. And I hope you posted this in Smoke Buddy so I don't have to post it in Smoke Buddies.
I did not. I could not.
Well, then I will post it in. I will post it.
Yeah, do that. You can do it. I guess do it while I'm still live. Does that make it easier?
I am. Yeah, it is. So I'm going to do that, and everybody have a blessed night. And I'm sorry if I missed the comments. I'm really high. But all right, love you guys. Bye.
Love
you. Thanks. Bye. All right, Mr. Corey.
What's up?
I am setting something up here that we can use. Okay. Back to us. All right, Corey, how old are you?
I'm 43.
So we're not that far apart, about 5 years. You're my brother's age. So
what are you older?
Are your parents alive still? If you don't mind me asking? Okay. I'm 48. I'm 38, actually. Kidding.
38?
Yes.
Look good for 38.
Thanks. I just shaved tonight. Probably looks on point right now.
I need to shave.
Well, you didn't know you were going to be on national television, did you?
I don't care.
This isn't the morning show. The morning show is
like my mom always bitches. Why don't you shave? I'm like, because it fucking grows back by the next day.
I guess that's one reason. Yeah. But you said you have your dad or your stepdad was in the military.
My dad was in the military. My uncle was in the military. My other uncle was one of the first Navy SEALs.
Oh.
My grandpa was in Hawaii for Pearl Harbor. Got shot in the jaw by an airplane.
Let me ask you this. Do your relatives who are veterans hang out together, or did they at some point?
Well, most of them are gone by now.
Right. So
I have like 5 or 6 cousins that have been in the military. They hang out together.
So that's what I'm wondering. My family, I have a few who've been in the military, and it seems like we don't talk to each other. And maybe there's other reasons for that. Who
that's the thing, though. I've noticed that even in my hometown, there's people that were actually in the same platoons over in Iraq, and they don't even talk. But then there's a group around us. There's a group of veterans from, I'd say, Vietnam, Desert Storm on up that have like group meetings every 2 weeks.
Right, and there are resources. That was a point of contention earlier. I think it's a misconception that there's no resources, and I guess it depends on where you're at, because Canada.
Well, it depends. Like around our area, there are resources for veterans, but I know other areas. Other areas around me don't have it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess there's probably some dead areas, or not dead areas, but areas far away from resources would be a dead area, as a dead zone.
But
I guess
I've had tons of friends that were in the military. I got I got a friend. He was in 2 different IED explosions. He's got PTSD and amnesia.
There's, I know a lot of guys.
But it's short-term amnesia. It's not like all the time. Like, you might forget something for 10 minutes and then remember it. Like,
so how young were you when your dad came home from the military? Was
my dad was never in the military.
Okay, who was it? I'm sorry. Who's your
my
closest?
Uncle.
Your uncle.
Yeah.
Did you ever meet him when he was?
I think he got out of the military in 78, the year I was born.
Oh, so you don't really have a. Do you have any friends that went to the military and came home?
Oh yeah, I got a bunch of friends that went to the military and came back. They were in Afghanistan, Iraq. I got friends that were in the Gulf War, got that Gulf War syndrome.
Yeah. So
and they talk about
keep in touch with them or no?
Oh yeah, they're all in my hometown, Spring Valley.
I should have got you to bring one on because that. Well,
here's the thing. I could literally bring a couple different ones on.
Okay, and this is why I'm going to say that we'll probably revisit topics. I mean, it may not, probably be for a few months.
I'm really enjoying that you're doing this, Waylon. This is cool topic.
Yeah, it's not going to be as serious of a topic every time, but
I know, but I'm glad you're doing something like this because I like shit like this. Like, out of a lot of my friends, I've talked a lot of my friends down out of doing some dumb shit to themselves. Like, my one veteran friend tried to kill himself, ran in front of a train. He got drugged in front of a train or underneath the train for about a half a mile and survived. And then he was paralyzed for about 2 years and just started learning how to walk a couple years ago.
You go to some pretty dark places when you feel like there's no value left,
Well, what happened is he hit a car. He was drinking. He hit a car, hopped out of his car and took off running. He was getting chased by the cops and said, fuck it, I'm going to kill myself. And obviously there were different plans for him because he survived.
Well, it sounds like you're a good friend, at least. I mean, you can't put it all on the people.
I'm a good friend to all my friends. Like, I'm the counselor.
Has some accountability too, but it really helps to have somebody who, says they care about that person, follow through with that, and actually check up on them. And again, that still sounds like I'm putting all the work on.
I do that with all my friends I'm friends with that have issues. Like, I'm pretty fucking I have my PTSD. I learned how to deal with it. I learned how to deal with it through drawing. Just fucking.
So what do you have PTSD from?
Being sick as a kid, being in the hospital, having shit shoved in my nose.
How old were you when you got out?
Well, I was in an incubator when I was born for a couple months, and then a year later, it was like all the way up to I was like 3 or 4. I was always in the hospital.
Well,
and it was just like
I have to
all
come
the
up with
shit and
something
them fucking with me all the time. I don't like people touching my face. Like, that's one thing that sets me off because even from when I was a little kid, that shit just.
Sure. Well, that's terrible. I'm glad you came out the man that you are. So with that, we're gonna start to wrap it up here, buddy. What do you got? You can go ahead. What do you got?
But I'm like a counselor to a lot of my friends because I'm like the neutral guy.
You're neutral.
Yeah,
that's good because you're a good listener. That's what.
And a good talker too. But like, I've had friends that were addicts. I've helped get clean. I've had friends that were gonna kill themselves. Talked them down. Like,
I'd rather hang out in the park like that with veterans than at the VFW because you feel I don't know what the word is, but drinking starts to become easier and easier in that situation for some reason.
Our VFW don't even have a bar.
Well, that's good. So let me go back to this one more time and just go back through it real quick. Knowing who they are because some people don't talk about it. Do the research if you care about them. Now, this is something I wish I talked about when everybody else is on. I meant to do this earlier. I'll get better with it, but this really means a lot to me, because if you're somebody who has a family member who's overseas, now not necessarily someone who was in a war a long time ago or whatever, but during that war, there was so much information coming out, especially because it was the most recent war, so much information coming out about how family members should treat, or how family members should react to the veteran coming home. There was all this training and all this information out for that. And I feel like if you're somebody who has a loved one overseas, it's kind of on you to do a little bit of that research also.
Well, I think one of the best ways is to just treat them like they were before they even went.
Yes and no. You still want to look for signs and triggers.
Yeah, I mean signs, but as a person, you don't want to step on eggshells being around them to trigger them. You want to talk to them just like.
That's why I put down here. Try not to bother them with the small things, trying to baby them, or coming to them with all these little issues that could be solved without bothering them. There's a lot.
That's straight up the truth right there, Waylon.
It's like your fuse is shorter for things that to annoy you.
Yeah,
it used to be. I used to be pretty proud of.
And I understand that completely, because I have friends that are like that. Certain things just get on their nerves really fast, and it's like you just change the subject.
Sure. But with that, Corey, I think we've killed the moose by now.
Killed the moose. I like that quote.
Yeah, I just made it up. Let me see, which one is this again?
But anytime I'll come on here and talk, I can talk about that domestic abuse shit. I dealt with that for fucking years.
We're definitely going to do one of those, because there's a lot of that, a lot of people that have experiences with that. So that's a good one. I really thought that we might end up going over. I was trying to stick to about 3 hours, and we're pretty close to.
Well, you're pretty close.
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad for a first episode, guys. I appreciate everybody who hung out the whole time. I know it was a little bit different than what some of you are used to.
Well, I was trying to get on a little earlier, and I was just busy with my son, and I was like, fuck, I want to get on here.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, Corey, but we're going to try to really stick to the topics, and you did pretty well. But thanks a lot, man. It's been great. Let's play the outro, and you have a good day, everybody.
You too.